Did you know the full story of Titanic? On a cold night in April 1912, one of the greatest maritime tragedies in history unfolded in the North Atlantic. The RMS Titanic, the unsinkable ship, met its tragic fate on its maiden voyage. This is the complete story of the Titanic, from its grand construction to its fateful sinking and the lasting legacy it left behind. The Titanic was conceived in the early 1900s by the White Star Line, a British shipping company, as a response to rival company Cunard's launch of two fast and luxurious ships, the Lusitania and Mauretania. To compete, White Star Line's chairman, J. Bruce Ismay, and shipbuilder Harland and Wolff designed three gigantic vessels, the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic. Built in Belfast, Ireland, the Titanic was a marvel of engineering and luxury. At 882 feet long and 92 feet wide, it was the largest ship afloat at the time. It boasted advanced safety features like 16 watertight compartments and an opulent interior that included a grand staircase, swimming pool, gymnasium, and luxurious staterooms. The Titanic was not just an engineering marvel, it was a floating palace. The ship was divided into three classes: first class, second class, and third class. First-class passengers enjoyed unparalleled luxury, including private promenades, exquisite dining halls, and suites that rivaled the finest hotels. Some of the wealthiest and most prominent figures of the time were on board, like American businessman John Jacob Astor IV and industrialist Benjamin Guggenheim. Second class was comfortable, providing amenities far superior to what most passengers experienced on other ships. Third class, also known as steerage, was designed for immigrants and the working class. Despite being the least expensive option, it was still of a higher standard than on other ships. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic departed from Southampton, England, on its maiden voyage to New York City. It made brief stops in Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, now Cobh, Ireland, before heading out into the open Atlantic with 2,224 passengers and crew aboard. The mood was joyous, and many believed the Titanic was the pinnacle of human achievement, unsinkable and unstoppable. But as the Titanic sailed westward, trouble was brewing. Despite numerous warnings about icebergs in the area, the ship continued at nearly full speed, 22 knots. On the night of April 14th, as the ship cruised under a clear, star-lit sky, the lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee spotted an iceberg directly in the ship's path. At 11:40 p.m., the Titanic struck the iceberg. The collision caused the ship's starboard side to scrape along the ice, tearing open 6 compartments. The watertight compartments began to flood rapidly. Despite the unsinkable claims, the Titanic's fate was sealed. She could stay afloat with 4 compartments flooded, but not 6. Chaos ensued. Captain Edward Smith ordered the lifeboats to be launched. But here's where the real tragedy unfolds. There were not enough lifeboats. The Titanic carried only 20 lifeboats, enough for just over 1,200 people, far short of the total number on board. The crew, unprepared for such an emergency, initially launched lifeboats half full. Women and children were given priority, but many men remained on board. As the lifeboats were lowered into the icy waters, distress signals were sent out. The closest ship, the Californian, was only a few miles away but failed to respond. The Carpathia, more than 58 miles away, raced to the rescue, but it would take hours to reach the Titanic's location. At 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, the Titanic broke apart and sank beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. Over 1,500 souls were lost that night, succumbing to the freezing waters or trapped inside the sinking vessel. Only 705 survivors were rescued by the Carpathia later that morning, forever changed by the horror they had witnessed. The sinking of the Titanic shocked the world. Investigations were launched, and testimonies from survivors shed light on the numerous failures that led to the disaster. As a result, major changes in maritime safety laws were enacted, including the requirement for lifeboats for all passengers, 24-hour radio monitoring, and the establishment of the International Ice Patrol. The Titanic lay undisturbed at the bottom of the ocean until 1985, when oceanographer Dr. Robert Ballard discovered the wreck, nearly 12,500 feet below the surface. The haunting images of the once great ship, now a crumbling relic covered in rust, renewed public interest and fascination with the story. Today, the Titanic's legacy lives on through museums, books, and films, like James Cameron's 1997 blockbuster Titanic, which captured the hearts of millions and reignited the world's fascination with the ship. The Titanic remains a powerful symbol of human ambition, tragedy, and the fragility of life. The story of the Titanic is more than just the tale of a ship sinking. It's a story of human error, the limits of technology, and the courage and sacrifice of those who faced unimaginable fear on that fateful night. A century later, the Titanic still speaks to us, reminding us of the importance of humility and respect for nature's power. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the complete story of the Titanic. If you found this video insightful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more historical deep dives.